Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video where today I'm going to be predicting the scores of week 35 of this 2021-2022 championship season. But before, as usual, before we get into this week's predictions, let's have a quick look back at how well we all got on in week 34. Well, top scorer last week with a magnificent score of 15 points and 4 perfect scores was the cyber leader, WHUFC West Ham fan. Of course, myself, I had an absolute pitiful week with just 3 points on the board. But how does that affect the overall league table now for the predictions for this season? Well, I'm still at the top on 271 points. Just 3 points now ahead of Shane O'Donnell, who's closing in on me at the top of that predictions league. Doug's still in third position on 256 and Ferris 77, just 1 point behind Doug on 255 points. And then there's a big gap to Mark Chapman on 230 points. But that's enough of last week. Let's crack on and make some predictions now for week 35. There's 13 fixtures to predict in this game week. Starting off at 12:30 on Saturday lunchtime, we've got Blackburn coming up against QPR. Now Blackburn and QPR, you could say, faltering slightly over the last 6 game weeks. A tough match to call this one at Ewood Park. Haven't been impressed with Blackburn, losing last 3 of their last 4 matches, and they haven't actually scored now in around about 5 to 6 matches. So I think they will score in this one, but I think it will end up in a draw, and I'm going to go for 1-1. Then we move on to the 3 o'clock fixtures where we've got Barnsley, who, even though they're rock bottom of the table, have won twice in their last 3 matches. A good 2-0 away victory against Hull last time out. And Middlesbrough, currently in 7th position, trying to get into those playoff places. A good home win against West Brom, who are dropping like a stone at the moment. I fancy Borough for an away win in this one. I'm going to go for 2-1. Then we've got Birmingham coming up against the magnificent Huddersfield side, who came back from the brink against Cardiff at home last time out, where they were victorious 2-1. And Birmingham now currently in 18th position, only 1 victory in their last 6. The last fixture they lost, surprisingly, you could say, away against Reading 2-1. But in this one, I think Huddersfield are just going to have too much for them. The amount of pace and guile that Huddersfield possess at the moment. I'm going to go for a 1-0 away victory to the Terriers. Then we got Blackpool coming up against Reading. Reading trying to claw themselves out of that relegation zone, and they have in fact done that with back-to-back victories over Preston and Birmingham. Blackpool, 15th position, only 1 win themselves in their last 6 matches, which surprises me a little, but I think they will bounce back slightly in this one. Can see it ending up in a draw, but I'm going to go for the Seasiders to be victorious in this one, 2-1. Then we got Bournemouth, 2nd in the league, coming up against Stoke. Bournemouth, 3 wins on the bounce now. A good away victory against Blackpool, who we just mentioned a moment ago, 2-1 in the last fixture. And Stoke, another team that's dropping like a stone, themselves only 1 win in the last 6, losing at home against Luton last time out. So I fancy a straightforward victory to the Cherries in this one, 2-0. Then we've got Cardiff coming up against Fulham. And Cardiff, even though they lost against Huddersfield, they did give a really good account of themselves until those final minutes where they threw away a 1-goal lead. Fulham themselves, another win against Peterborough, although it was narrow. That scoreline 2-1, and prior to that they lost against Huddersfield 2-1. So I think there'll be goals in this one, but I'm going to go for Desmond's and see this one ending up all square 2-2. Then we've got Coventry coming up against Preston. Another one tough to call. Preston up to 13th now, only 1 defeat in their last 6, and Coventry up to 9, where they have had back-to-back wins, albeit a 1-0 victory over Barnsley and a 2-1 away win against Coventry. They always leave it late in the day, don't they, Coventry, to either grind out a win or grab a draw at the end, and I think this one will end up in a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 scoreline. Then we got Luton coming up against Derby. Luton 8th now, 4 wins out of their last 5, whereas Derby sort of slipping back into the they've been in the relegation zone, you could say, for all the season, defeated in the last match at home against Millwall. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Luton. Luton playing some good stuff at the moment. They've got Millwall coming up against Sheffield United. Millwall, always tough to beat. 3 victories in their last 3 matches as well. And Sheffield United doing ever so well, undefeated in the last 6, back-to-back victories against Swansea and Blackburn at home. But I fancy on the road, might be a little bit tough for them in London. I'm going to go for a 1-1 scoreline between Millwall and the Blades. Then we got Nottingham Forest against Bristol City. I think this one is going to be a straightforward victory to Nottingham Forest, currently in 10th position. Only lost once in the last 6. Bristol City sort of doing quite well recently, although they did lose at home against Coventry last time out. But victories against Middlesbrough and Reading recently, as albeit at home, so away from home, not too clever. I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Forest in this one. Then we've got Peterborough coming up against Hull. I think this one will end up all square. Hull winless in their last 6 matches, only scored, actually they've lost 18 of those 34 matches. Peterborough, second from bottom, losing 5 of the last 6, but I fancy them to get a point in this one, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. It was only a narrow away defeat, wasn't it, against Fulham last time out. Then on Monday we've got West Brom coming up against Swansea. Now Swansea didn't play in their last match because of the storm damage to their stadium. West Brom, another team that is dropping like a stone. Steve Bruce hasn't really done a lot there since he's taken the helm. 5 defeats in their last 6. Swansea, will the rest do them a good? Not so sure. Themselves 4 defeats in their last 6. So I think West Brom are narrowly going to nick this one 1-0. And the final fixture of this game week takes place on Tuesday, where we see the rearranged fixture between Cardiff and Derby at the Cardiff City Stadium under the lights. I fancy Cardiff to nick this one with a 2-1 victory. So those are my predictions for week 35 of this 2021-2022 championship season. Make sure you leave your predictions in the comment section. I'll add them all together and we'll see how you get on and see if you can climb up the table. Shane O'Donnell now nipping at my heels. Can anyone else get up to those first few spots as well? It remains to be seen. But thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.